The letter of the law kills. Once I asked someone, "What are you, a fighter for Christ or a fighter for temptation?" You know that there are fighters for temptation, don't you? A Christian must not be a fanatic, but have love for everyone. Whoever hurls indiscreet words, even when he may be in the right, does harm. I once met an author who was devout, and yet spoke to worldly people in a brutally frank way that was nonetheless profound, and was thus able to shake them out of their complacency. Once he told me, "In a gathering I said this and that to a lady," but by the manner in which he made his remarks, he had crippled the poor woman. He embarrassed her in front of everybody. "Look," I told him, "you are hurling golden crowns with diamonds at people, but the way you are throwing them, you are hurting heads, not just sensitive ones, but hard ones too. Let us not throw stones at people, Christian style. Whoever censures publicly someone who has sinned, or whoever speaks with animosity about someone, such a person is not motivated by the Spirit of God. He is moved by another spirit. The way of the church is love. It differs from the way of the legalists. The church sees everything with loving forbearance and seeks to help each person, no matter what he has done or how sinful he may be. I notice in some devout people a rather strange type of logic. Their devotion and good intentions are all very well, but they also need to be spiritually discerning and broad-minded, so their devotion is not accompanied by narrow-mindedness or hard-headedness. That is a stubborn and closed mind. The premise is to be in a spiritual state, to have spiritual discernment. Otherwise, one remains at the level of the letter of the law, and the letter of the law kills. He who has humility never takes on the air of an instructor. He listens, and when asked of his opinion, he speaks humbly. He never says, "I," but rather, "My thought tells me," or the Fathers tells us. He speaks like a student. Anyone who thinks that he can correct others thinks far too highly of himself. Geronda. When someone sets out with good intentions to do something, only to go to extremes, does he lack discernment? Pride has infiltrated his activity, but he does not realize it because he does not know himself yet, and that's why he goes to extremes. People often start out piously but get lost. This is what happened during the iconoclast controversy between the iconodials and the iconoclasts. Extremes on one side, extremes on the other. The iconodials went as far as to scrape the paint of the icon of Christ and put it into the chalice to improve Holy Communion. The iconoclasts would either burn the icons or throw them away. This is why the church was forced to place the icons high up, and once the controversy subsided, the icons were lowered for the people to venerate them and to render honor to the persons they represented.